Iranian
Negotiations are underway between the US and Iran have failed to stop attacks across the Middle East. It's been nearly 4 weeks since the US and Israel attacked Iran, launching a war with global consequences.
War doesn't always start with explosions. Sometimes it starts quietly, with tension, with decisions, with plans made in secret, and when it finally begins, it's already too late to stop.
Over the past 36 hours, the United States and its partners have launched Operation Epic Fury.
The conflict between Iran and the United States is not something sudden. It didn't appear overnight. It has been building for decades. On the surface, it looks simple. The United States has the strongest military in the world, advanced jets, powerful weapons, global reach. Iran, in comparison, looks much weaker, but this is where things become dangerous. Because this war is not being fought in a normal way. Iran never planned to fight the United States directly. It knew it couldn't win that kind of war. So instead, it created a different kind of strategy. A strategy where strength matters less and survival matters more. This is called asymmetric warfare. But the idea is simple. Don't fight the enemy where they are strongest. Make the war confusing, make it long, make it impossible to finish. For Iran, winning does not mean defeating the United States completely. It means something else. It means staying alive. Staying active, continuing the fight, because if the war never truly ends, then no one can really win. One of Iran's biggest advantages is something you can't even see. It's underground. Over the years, Iran has built deep tunnels and hidden bases inside mountains.
The US and Israel have been targeting drone bases like this one. Iran has been launching waves of these drones across the region, using them to overwhelm defense shields.
These places store missiles, weapons, and equipment, but they are not easy targets. They are designed to survive attacks. Even powerful airstrikes struggle to destroy them. This creates a serious problem. The United States depends heavily on air power. It uses aircraft and missiles to destroy enemy targets quickly. But when those targets are hidden deep underground, that advantage becomes weaker. You can bomb the surface, but the real system stays alive below. And as long as those systems survive, the war continues. Iran also made another important decision. Instead of focusing on building a strong air force, it invested in missiles and drones. Missiles don't need air superiority. They don't need control of the sky. They can be launched from hidden locations and hit targets far away. Drones can fly low, avoid detection, and strike with precision. This means Iran can still attack even while being attacked. Destroy one launch site, another one appears. Hit one base, the system keeps moving. There is no single point you can destroy to end everything. And that makes the war much harder to control than there is geography. Iran is not an easy place to fight. It is large, with mountains, deserts, and difficult terrain. Moving armies through this land is slow and complicated, but the real power lies in one narrow area, the Strait of Hormuz.
Troubled waters of the Strait of Hormuz have quickly shifted much of the world's focus. It's considered a major oil choke point, and while some Asian nations are most reliant on it, the U.S. might be hit with a slow drip impact.
This small waterway carries a huge portion of the world's oil. Tankers pass through it every day. If something happens there, the entire world feels it. Iran doesn't need to shut it down completely. Even a small disruption, a threat, an attack, that's enough to send oil prices rising and create global panic.
For almost a month, drivers have been dealing with rising fuel costs. In some parts of the EU, petrol is 17% more expensive than it was at the end of February.
Now the war is no longer just about two countries. It becomes a global problem. Another part of Iran's strategy is something even more complex. It doesn't fight alone. Over time, Iran has built connections with different groups in different regions. This creates multiple points of pressure. Instead of one battlefield, there are many. Attacks can come from different directions, different times, different places. This spreads out the conflict, and it forces the United States to divide its focus. You are no longer fighting one enemy in one location. You are dealing with a network. And networks are much harder to stop. But the battlefield doesn't end there. Today, war also exists in the digital world. Iran has developed cyber capabilities that allow it to attack systems, networks, and infrastructure.
Critical infrastructure, like hospitals, ports, water plants, power stations, and railways, are among the most likely targets as Iran tries to use its cyber operations to cause chaos and confusion.
These attacks don't always destroy things physically. Instead, they create confusion. Systems stop working. Information becomes unreliable, fear spreads, you may not see the damage immediately, but over time it builds pressure, and pressure can break even the strongest systems. Now comes the most important part, time. Modern wars are not just about who is stronger, they are about who can last longer. Fighting a long war is expensive. It requires money, resources, and constant support.
More than $11 billion. That's what Pentagon officials say the war in Iran cost in just its first 6 days.
For the United States, operating far from home adds even more cost. Every day of war means more spending, more pressure, more questions, and as time goes on, support can begin to weaken. This is exactly what Iran wants, because its strategy is built around endurance. It doesn't need a quick victory, it needs a long fight, a fight where the opponent slowly gets tired, a fight where winning becomes unclear. This leads to a deeper problem. What does winning actually mean?
Main thing is we have to win this thing, win it quickly, but win it. Most people say it's already been won. It's just a question of when. When do we stop? It doesn't mean we're going to end it immediately.
In a normal war, victory is clear. One side defeats the other. The conflict ends, but here it's different. Iran's system is designed to survive damage. Even after attacks, it can continue operating. It can still launch missiles, still respond, still resist. So even if it takes losses, it doesn't collapse. And if it doesn't collapse, the war doesn't end. That means there is no clear victory, only continuation. Over time, this changes everything. The war becomes less about power and more about patience, less about destruction and more about endurance.
What Iran is doing is taking a strategy that they actually developed over the last 30 or 40 years after the Iran-Iraq War, which was fought from 1980 to 1988.
Iran has built its entire strategy around this idea. Absorb the attack, stay alive, keep going, because as long as it can do that, it cannot be fully defeated. This is why the United States faces such a difficult challenge. It is not fighting a weak opponent. It is fighting a system designed to resist stronger forces. A system that turns weaknesses into strengths, underground bases that survive attacks, missiles that don't need air control, geography that slows invasion, networks that expand the battlefield, cyber attacks that create invisible pressure, all working together, not to win quickly, but to make sure the war never truly ends. In the end, this is not a simple conflict. It is not about who has more weapons, it is about who can endure longer. And in a war like this, the strongest side doesn't always win. Sometimes, the side that refuses to lose wins instead. If this story made you see the war from a different perspective, then you already understand how complex this conflict really is. Because this is not just about power, it's about strategy, survival, and time. So now I want to hear from you. Do you think the United States can actually win a war like this, or is Iran's strategy making it impossible? Drop your opinion in the comments. And if you want more deep, documentary-style breakdowns like this, make sure to subscribe, like the video, and share it with someone who needs to see the bigger picture. Because the next conflict might already be taking shape.